Welcome back everyone, I'm Danny the Dinosaur Drawer, and today I'm going to be showing you all how to draw the Indoraptor smiling from that really great scene in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. You're looking at the reference image right now. So we're going to draw the Indoraptor smiling. We're probably going to draw the guy there who was trying to pull the tooth out of the Indoraptor's mouth and was unfortunately eaten. Well, I guess, I don't know, he was a bad guy, so maybe fortunately eaten by the aggressive Indoraptor. So yeah, we're going to draw the Indoraptor head and a little bit of the body, as you can see here, and then the cage that the man and the dinosaur in. So yeah, get out your pencils and we'll get started. I'm going to be using my, actually this is a new 0.9mm Pentel grafting pencil. It's a mechanical pencil. But yeah, any pencil will work, so get out your favorite drawing device and let's get to drawing. So the first thing we're going to do is put a little outline down. So let's put an oval right about here for the Indoraptor head, which is the main subject of this picture. Then we'll have a little bit of the neck and back showing, but that's about it. Then we'll have the guy who was trying to get the tooth out, I forget his name. He's going to be looking back because he saw out of the corner of his eye the Indoraptor tail swinging in the background, and he's checking to see if he actually saw what he thinks he saw. So he's gonna be right about here. Again, I'm not really good at drawing people, so we'll see how he turns out. Like so. Just give a little outline to him, and then of course we're gonna have the cage that they're in. So I have two lines coming down like so, using perspective. So here's the back of the cage. Then we're gonna have a bunch of bars, but we'll focus on that a little bit later. That's not the main, that's like in the background, so we're gonna maybe have it blurred a little bit. It's not the main focus of the drawing, and we won't go into great detail with that. Our main focus is the Indoraptor head. So yeah, now that we have a nice outline, we can start putting in some detail and refinement. So the first thing we're going to draw is the Indoraptor head. I guess we could start off with the eye, which is always a great place to start when you're drawing a face or dinosaur head. Have like a semicircle. Have really almond shape like that. It's sort of squinting. Put that first wrinkle down, or the eyelids, which are peeled back, like so. I'm not sure if I zoom in if it'll lose focus. And then yeah, it's got very cat-like eyes. It's just got really thin pupil. It's got shading in the corners of its eyes, and shading is slowly lighter. So yeah, our eye already looks pretty good. It looks very 3D. Now all we have to do is just add some more wrinkles. Add those wrinkles in. So the Indoraptor head might be a little bit bigger than I've drawn than our little oval here. We're gonna have the eye ridge, and then the snout with all those teeth is gonna be quite long. Something like that. His head is a little larger than the head of a horse, I would say, just by looking at it right now. Just to guess, I'm not exactly sure how large the Indoraptor is. It could be maybe 20 feet long, 20, 25. It's definitely bigger than Blue, but still much smaller than the Indominus Rex or T-Rex. So yeah, this main eye cavity is going to be really shaded in, and for that I might bring out another pencil. So I pulled out a 4B Arteza shading pencil, and that'll be for our dark colors. You could do it with the graph gear or with the mechanical pencil by cross hatching, but having a softer pencil will make your drawing look a little better. So you mainly shade the corners here of the eyelids. to make it look more roundish. So yeah, there's a bunch of scales that outline this eye cavity. So I'll put those in. So I hope you all remember the scene from the movie. It's a really memorable one, probably one of the scariest ones for me personally. But yeah, it was a great scene. It was one of the scenes where, like, I whispered to my friend who was sitting next to me. I was like, "That's so stupid." The guy sees that everyone's left the auction for some reason and just is gonna go in and try and pull a tooth out of this dangerous dinosaur just because he thinks it's tranquilized. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but by now you guys should all have seen it, if not in theaters, on disc or on Amazon. So let's put in some, more scales. It's got this, I call it the ear cavity, but the ear really isn't in this cavity, but the ear is right behind the head, right about there. So this cavity, I just call it the ear cavity because it's closest to the ear. I'll shade that in, like so. Mainly shading the bottom portion. So guys, you might have noticed or already checked it out, but I redid my website, my Wix website. So if you want to see that, just click on the link in the description below. It'll say Danny's website. It's sort of like a little online portfolio that I think you guys will enjoy. It's got some of my favorite drawings that I've done over the last 3 years. So it's got dinosaurs, comic art, and portrait art, which are the main things I draw. So I'm really trying to get more into comics, like comic art and stuff, and portraits, along with dinosaurs. Of course, dinosaurs will always be my favorite thing to draw and my forte. But I do want to expand a little bit in my subject matter. So the next thing I'm going to draw is the Indoraptor smile. So this is going to be the challenging part because we don't want to actually make it look like it's smiling. It's how this weird jawline. Then this part here we'll draw really lightly because we're going to have a lot of teeth overlapping and it'll be a big mess if we draw a thick line there that we won't be able to erase. It's got a raptor-like snout. It's going to have this big cavity here that we're going to put in, and then it's got the nose right about here, but that part is quite dark, and I think I'll make the snout a little shorter, just a little shorter. Maybe something like that. So I'm taking my dark pencil and really darken this area where the Indoraptor is giving like a little, maybe not a smirk, it's more like a sly smile. And I do believe this is the first human the Indoraptor kills. And it looks like it actually eats him. Like sometimes like the Indominus Rex would just kill a bunch of animals but wouldn't actually eat them. So, but the Indoraptor seemed like it was hungry. So let's again put in some more scales on this top jaw, like so. Make some of your scales larger and some of them smaller. Make them all different sizes. So go ahead and scale all along this shaded area. So one of my subscribers, Culture Tyrant 95, I think that's how you pronounce his username on YouTube, did this amazing drawing and emailed it to me just, I think, yesterday. And he did an amazing job with the scales. As you can see, this is a lot of dedication and time. I mean, I don't know how long that took him, but this would have taken me probably an hour and a half, maybe more. And his colors are just amazing. So yeah, try and do scales like he does, because if you take the time to put in all the different scales on your drawing, it'll make it look that much better. Also, shading is a huge part of making your drawing look good. So some people can master art so well that they can just do the shadows, not any of the other lines, and they'll still look very realistic. But yeah, doing scales is necessary almost all the time, especially when you're drawing like a reptilian-like animal. Another way to make your shading look less like lines, like this looks very much like the pencil, you can see the pencil lines, is take your pencil in circles like so, and move it up along the snout, like so. Also, I'm going to continue this shading on the upper ridge, on that eyebrow ridge. There is a little bit more head that will be sticking up on top there. And right here we can't really see much of the other eye ridge, but just a tiny bit bumping up over on the other side, like so. So let's go ahead and put in some more scales. The scales around here are a little larger. So the next step, we can't really do much more scales here until we put in the teeth. So we can sort of still see the faint line there of the jaw. We'll start by putting the teeth on the left, on this end, and continue on that way. So for each tooth, you sort of want to have it sticking up, so it actually looks like it's implanted in the gum. This will give your drawing a little bit more, make it look a little more realistic. So Indoraptor has a lot of teeth that are interlocking, like so, which gives it more of that evil dinosaur look, or more of like a monster look, very similar to what we saw with the Indominus Rex. Had all these crooked looking teeth. Teeth sort of get at their largest right about this area, but basically there's all different sizes along the entire mouth. Now that we've put in each tooth, we can start adding a little bit of shading to make it look like each one sort of pops out a little more. And then now we can put in scales. It's going to give it a little bit of a darker tone, skin tone, because the Indoraptor is black and we want to have it, have that darker tone. So sometimes it'll be good just to draw the shading before the scales. Also, if you shade dark enough, you won't need to put scales in those areas, so it'll be pointless if you do the scales first and then add the shading. So I definitely recommend putting in as much shading as possible before you spend a lot of your time on the scales. So here you can put scales, but as you can see, you won't be able to see them that well when they're up higher where the shading is darker. So you want to bring the scales to the lighter spots. But also the spots that are really bright, you don't want to do the scales because you can't really see them because the light is glinting right there. And all these things will come to you with practice. I'm trying to do my best explaining it, but it's really hard to, explain some things that just come to you with practice. So let's just continue all the scales along here. I apologize for the background noise. There's a ton of wind today. It's really been windy. But I needed to get this video out. I've been waiting to draw this for a while. I probably say that about almost everything I draw because it's true. I have such a long list of things you guys want me to draw. So the picture actually ends right about here. But I'm just going to continue it right about there and then probably just add a bunch of shading around this area. Like all around there. I just want to complete the jaw to make our picture look more complete. So the bottom jaw is going to be pretty thick right about here and then get thinner as it gets near the tip of the snout, which will give it more of that raptor look to it. I just thought, I'm thinking that the eye might be a tiny bit too large, which makes it look more like a baby dinosaur. So I'm just going to make it a little smaller. Hope you guys are okay with that. Hope you didn't make a really, really fantastic eye that you won't like erasing, but I didn't have to erase mine, I just made another layer of eyelids, which seems to have made it look a little better. So yeah, the first thing we're going to do, as I said, is put in shading, and then do the scales second. So let's go ahead and shade the bottom jaw. We've done enough talk about the head. Let's move on to the neck. I'm going to see a little bit of the back, but not much. So yeah, the Indoraptor has a bunch of plates and spikes all over the neck. So you want to have this first layer of spikes. They're like very similar to crocodile spikes. And then we have the main spikes, which are a little larger and look more like dinosaur spikes. And these will flatten out as they go along the back there. Just erase some of the lines we put in earlier, just to clear up the mess a bit. Yes, you want to have these spikes sort of flatten out. Then here on the back, we're going to have a bunch of plates that look like they're overlapping. Look very similar to like medieval armor plates. That looks pretty good. The next thing we're going to do is add the next layer. Actually, maybe we should put in the quills right away before I forget, because I often forget to do that. Put in the quills. They're definitely part of the Indominus Rex. That was one of my favorite things about the Indominus Rex, was the quills. Really made it look really cool. So add in those little quills on the top of the neck. They don't really continue past there. Then there's another little layer of plates that sort of have like a S-shaped curve to them. Sort of like a backwards S. Remember, as I said, the picture actually ends like right about there. So I'm sort of going to be guessing what's here, so we're probably just going to shade in most of that area. But let's first put in some shading for each of these plates. I have to sharpen this pencil here because it's getting quite dull. So let's put in some shading for each plate. Then we're just going to add some simple scales right about here. Then of course we'll do all of our shading for that bottom portion. It's amazing because before I start a tutorial, before I turn on the camera, I always am thinking like, how long is this gonna take me, this drawing? It's like this one I thought maybe 10 minutes, 15 max, but we've gone way over that. So I definitely underestimated how long this drawing would take me. Especially when something's close up like this Indoraptor head, you have to put in a lot more detail. When it's far off, you can get away with just without putting any scales in or any other little details. Put in some shading for the bottom of the neck. So that's very, very cool. Did a little bit of cross hatching to make it look a little better. You can leave a little bit of white at the bottom. You don't have to draw all the way to the edge. You guys probably already know that. But yeah, the Indoraptor head and neck are completed, and now we can continue on to drawing our figure here, who is going to be eaten. So for our figure, his head is going to be turned. It's going to be looking at where the Indoraptor tail was. So we're going to see a little bit of his ear. So that'll be the first thing we're going to draw. Let me just take an eraser and erase some of the mess from the outline. So his hat will be right above the ear. Sort of got like a baseball cap type thing, but with sort of like a militaristic touch to it. But put one line down the center here and a little bit of shading in the back over around there. So we're going to see a little bit of his eyebrow, so we'll put that in. We won't really be able to see his eye. It's sort of where his eye, that little curve. We'll see like the curve in his head where the eye would be. We'll see a little bit of his nose. Sort of a challenge to draw a face from this angle. And of course his neck will be bent. He's got pretty short hair. There's not much more I can add, maybe a little more shading. We sort of got the basic idea of that there's a person there that's looking backwards. So yeah, he's got like a collared shirt. So put that in. We won't spend too much time on his clothing. Simple collared shirt. And he's sort of bent over a little bit. Sort of crouched. He's got this arm reaching forward toward the Indoraptor. So he's crouched over, and we can't see much more of his leg. Because I can't really see much more because the reference image ends. But I'm guessing this is where his foot will be, somewhere around here. And this may not look very good, but it's my best guess at what he's wearing. I bet he's wearing a boot, but his pants will be covering it. So in order for that not to take away from the dinosaur, you sort of have to make it look a little blurry. Put some shading on the ground here. Now I finished up the man. We can do our final step in this drawing, which is putting in the bars of the cage, which could actually turn into a complicated task, but I'm determined to make it quite simple. So we're not going to do any real shading, and I would suggest you use like paper, or you can use a ruler or something like that to make your lines straight. Right now I'm just going to be using like this piece of paper. It's got an old dinosaur drawing from last year on it. Let's find a good edge. And this one beam is quite thick. But yeah, here we got the door from which the guy entered. I'm pretty sure he leaves it sort of open, because after the Indoraptor eats him, he just pushes the door open. Because the Indoraptor on its own probably couldn't get out of this metal cage. It looks pretty secure. It's crazy because like in the Jurassic Park novel, which I read, the velociraptors actually gnaw right through steel bars, which I think was kind of an unrealistic part of the novel. They had a bunch of bars over the hotel rooms or something like that. It was the hotel huts or something, and the velociraptors just gnaw right through it. That part was kind of unrealistic. So yeah, now we're gonna have the bars on this side that will be coming toward us. So we're gonna have a bunch more. It's gonna look like there's a lot more just because they're going in like that. And again, I'm not making these perfect by any means, but if you make them look a little bit too, yeah, you don't want, the basic idea is just try not to take away too much from the Indoraptor, which is the main subject here. Sign our names in the corner here. Put the date, 2019. And yeah, that pretty much is the end of the tutorial on how to draw Indoraptor smiling in the cage from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So yeah, be sure to comment below if you did the drawing, and if you did do the drawing, please post it on Google Plus or tag me and my friend Nehemiah at DrawSketcha on Instagram. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like, and please comment below what you'd like me to draw next. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.